are colonizers. Yes, we are. I got to be honest about it. We really are. And I know white people right now are saying, I'm not a colonizer. Oh, you hurt my feelings. Well, you are. Probably in your mindset, in your ideology, you probably do have the mentality of a colonizer because most white people do. And I'll tell you why. 500 years ago, our colonizing culture, white European culture, was born. And we set out to steal things, resources, and that were not ours. We colonized, we enslaved all over the world. We enslaved Africans. We tried to dehumanize them and tell them, manipulate them, and gaslight them by telling them that they are not equal to us, that they are as an animal, and that the only real human are white people. Oh, I don't see color. Oh, it's a black man's fault that he's in the position. Well, what about black on black crime? I mean, it goes on and on and on. You know, I mean, I could sit here all day and give you examples. All lives matter. I mean, it just goes on all day. Black people ask for justice. White people find a way to try to obscure it, to try to take away from it, to try to demean it. We are colonizers. And I say that based on our behavior, collectively as white people. That until we stop being gaslighters and colonizers, white people are on a path of self-destruction. White supremacy, the lies of white supremacy, the colonizing mentality has never brought the white man happiness, and it never will. It's toxic, dysfunctional, and self-defeating. And it's not helping us. And now there's all this white rage because when the abuser loses control, he gets angry. And then Trump was born because we had a black president. And he was perfect because he was racist. And that's what white America wanted because they're angry, because they felt like they were losing control. As colonizers have to have control. And we had a black president. And everybody just shit all over themselves. White people just freak the fuck out. Oh my God, we're losing control. We have a black president. He's going to oppress us and enslave us. God knows we're going to be whipped and lynched. This is literally, I think, some of the thoughts, the subconscious. I'm exaggerating, but in a way it's true. The greatest fear of the colonizer is all that evil, vile shit that we did will be done up unto them, us. And that's why there's so much white rage. The numbers are changing. Pretty soon, white people will not be the majority. The abuser loses control. So what do? We continue gaslighting. We continue with white rage. White domestic terrorism on the rise. The greatest threat in America. White people are enraged because they can no longer control their victims, black and brown people, the way that they want to. They're losing some of their power, some of their positions, some of their privilege. They feel threatened. So here we are, in a state of crazy, utter chaos. That's why I say the lies of white supremacy is our destruction.
Yeah! Holla be thy name, holla be thy name, holla be thy name, holla be thy name, react and get game, holla be thy name, holla be thy name, holla be thy name.
What up, family? Yeah, it's your boy Holla Be Thy Name. And you know, it's time to react, get this game. So right here, we just got a bunch of white folks, man, and just really telling the truth about what's really going on. You know, all of them are not the same. Doing YouTube is crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Ever since I started doing this, it's like all of a sudden my neighbors done started getting on some others. It be sounding like fighting going on in the hallway. I don't know if gorillas done got loose. I think it's the devil. It's the devil. But now anyway, we're gonna get right into it. It's just a lot of white people, man, expressing their fear and rage, and they calling out the realness of like what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Here in America, man, like I like to pay attention to the real, the stuff that they try to distract us from. You know, and the stuff a lot of people don't like to talk about, like the stuff that just really need to be focused on. So, without further ado, gonna get right into it.
Joe Biden's running for a second term. I know he's old, but he's better than Trump. I'll be voting for him. Yeah, me too. Wish we had a better option, though. Yeah, well, at least it's not Trump. We gotta pick the lesser of two evils. Yeah, I guess so. A few months later. Oh my God. Joe Biden stepped down, and now Vice President Kamala Harris is running for office. I don't know why you're excited, Nick. Kamala Harris is pro-Israel. She's a genocidal maniac. We're going to call her Genocide Harris. Wait a minute. Vice President Harris hasn't changed any policies or thought processes than Biden when it comes to Israel and Palestine. She would be way better for black people. She has a history of trying to make law enforcement and just the judicial system more transparent. Trump wants to take away those things and give police more immunity to kill us black people. Like, we're literally going through a slow genocide here as African Americans. I thought that y'all understood that. That's why y'all said we're brothers and sisters. The only real difference is that she's black. Now you want to make this a race thing. After we stood up for you during Black Lives Matter, you're going to vote for Genocide Harris? What the fuck are you talking about? Trump is literally going to do way worse in Palestine. You know that, don't you? Oh, I didn't say I was voting for Trump. I just said I wasn't voting for Kamala. Then who are you voting for? I didn't say Trump. And what about us here? As black people, we're going to be affected if Trump wins. Y'all will be affected too, but like, we're going through our own genocide. Don't you care? Like, we even promoted your movement during our movement, which was overshadowed by your movement and everybody else's. Let me just be honest. I'm not voting for it, Nick.
Y'all are so blinded by hate. Let me tell you how racism is going to keep the middle class stuck. America has a long, ugly history of people hating black and brown folks, so much so that they're willing to vote against their own survival just to keep their own racist ideologies alive. Time and time again, working class white Americans have been tricked into supporting policies that make them poorer, sicker, and more desperate, all because those in power tell them that they're going to punish black people and immigrants and other marginalized groups. Donald Trump's tax plan is the latest proof of this self-destructive cycle. His policies will hurt 95% of Americans, especially working class white Americans who make up a large percentage of his base, but yet they will still support him. Why? Because his campaign fuels their hate, distracting them from the fact that they too are being robbed. They are so determined to see black people struggle, so obsessed with upholding white supremacy that they will literally vote to make themselves poor if it means keeping the lie alive. Meanwhile, the ultra-rich, who don't care about race at all, just about staying rich and in power, laugh as they continue to collect wealth off the backs of struggling Americans. Trump's tax plan is not just about economics. It's a weapon of mass distraction, designed to use racism as a smokescreen while the rich steal from the poor. This isn't anything new. It's the same trick used throughout history. From the days of slavery, when rich plantation owners convinced poor whites to fight for a system that oppressed them too, to Jim Crow laws, to today's voter suppression and economic exploitation. The question I have is, when will people wake up? How much suffering will it take for them to see that the real enemy isn't black and brown people? It's the billionaires and the politicians robbing them blind while feeding them lies. This is the truth that racists don't want to admit. The very policies they think will hurt black and brown folks will hurt them first. And when they find out that they've been used as pawns in a game that's designed to keep them struggling, it may be too late.
I'm going to step on a bunch of people's feet when I say this. You are not being discriminated against just because you are not centered in the story. I need people to marinate in that, sit with that. You are not being oppressed by other people talking about various histories or focusing on various literature. None of those things are directly harmful to you. The way some folks will literally try to spin it as if talking about, let's take an example, if talking about Black history is harmful to them somehow. They never prove it. They never have any tangible examples of the actual harm of discussing Black history. It's all based upon people's feelings, which, if we're basing things upon people's feelings, there's a whole group of Black people who would love to talk about our feelings about things. Our feelings are never considered in these conversations, but the idea that it is oppressive to certain groups of folks to learn Black history is wild. That is somehow harmful and detrimental to these folks to learn actual history, things that have actually happened, as opposed to those things that actually happened, is wild. It shows me that y'all have never truly been oppressed because of your color of your skin. Like, y'all have never experienced that. When I'm having these discussions here on this forum and folks come on and they leave their comments when I ask them for examples of how this is oppressive to them, you know what some of those comments are? Black history section at the bookstore. Netflix having a whole Black section. The Black hair care aisle. Do y'all see how that's like wild? That other people simply existing, simply talking about existing, or in the case of the hair care aisle, simply caring for our bodies is somehow oppressive to folks who are so used to being centered that they lose their marbles when they hear or learn or are confronted with the idea that other people exist in this world and may want a little scalp moisturizer or may want to read a book that talks about our experiences, or may want to watch a love story that features Black love. That's the worst you gotta deal with? The idea that other people simply exist? That's the worst you have to deal with? Also, let me say this, because y'all think that everything Black people do is cool without giving Black people credit for it. Oppression is not fun. Being oppressed is not cute. Being harmed in so many different ways just because of the people that you come from is literally not fun. And I don't know why so many people want to be oppressed. I mean, outside of the fact that y'all think that everything Black people do is cool. I mean, a bunch of y'all walk around with do-rags right now trying to get waves. And I'm like, baby, you enjoy those cornfield looking locks. Like, that's fine. Baby, y'all don't even know what this stuff is for. A bunch of y'all were throwing oil in your hair and like y'all didn't know what that stuff was for. Like, it's weird. It's strange. It's odd. It's getting strange. It's okay if you're not centered in the story. It's okay. Other people exist. Other people could tell their perspectives. Other people matter too. Like, wasn't that y'all big thing that all lives matter? Isn't this a prime example of that? Breathe. It's okay. Other people exist. You'll be fine. You'll survive.
I still, for the life of me, will never ever understand how anyone believed that Donald Trump winning would be a better option or a better choice than Kamala Harris winning, or that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump would be exactly the same. Now, I'm one of those that understand, as a Democratic voter, how weak the messaging apparatus truly is. They're not the most clear on how they're different from Republicans on a multitude of different issues, Palestine being one. Now, with Kamala Harris, she was crystal clear on how she differed from Donald Trump on a lot of different issues, to include Palestine. But I think the Democratic Party as a whole did a lot of damage to Kamala and her chances in 2024 because they weren't clear. And I know for a lot of people in the Democratic Party, we give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt and believe that because these are adults, that they can find information on their own. I don't personally believe that. I have always believed that the overwhelming majority of voters in this country are illiterate when it comes to politics. So they're not going to know where to look, what to look for. And if they do start looking, they might start looking for confirmation bias of things that they already believe. So if they believe that there's no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans, the confirmation bias that they're going to look for is how the Democrats and the Republicans are similar on these issues. So it is incumbent upon the Democratic Party establishment to work on their messaging apparatus. Even if the Democratic voters are basically saying that they're not going to participate in protests, you won't be seeing them at these town halls, that they're going to be sitting out for the next 4 years, specifically the 92%. The politicians still have work to do. They still have to show that they are willing to fight. And for a lot of these Democratic politicians, they are not trying to meet the moment. They're not trying to meet the moment. A lot of these older Democrats are not trying to give up power to the younger generation. There's absolutely no reason why AOC and Jasmine Crockett shouldn't be front and center in the Democratic Party, because they are doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And a lot of these older Democrats are trying to engage in respectability politics with a party, a large portion of the country that doesn't give a fuck about respect. Even the current sitting president of the United States, that is literally trying to undermine the Constitution. We are so beyond respectability politics. In the next couple of years, the Democrats have to work on their messaging apparatus. They have to break it down, Barney style, in a way that the dumbest voter in this country can understand. And I'm going to stress, the dumbest voters in this country can understand. I know that the Democrats are still trying to hold on to this PC messaging, but at this current juncture, we have to be comfortable calling people exactly what they are. Because if you fell for a Trump scam again, you are dumb. A lot of these Trump voters are losing their jobs, losing their benefits. Their families are being deported. They are literally watching their families being genocided because this man basically says he wants to turn Gaza into a resort town. So they need to understand just how dumb it was to vote for this man. You're not smart voting for a man that's literally telling you that he's going to harm you. You are dumb. And that's what the Democratic Party has to start with. That we have a bunch of dumb voters in this country. And when you start at that honest point, then you can actually start doing your messaging that becomes more effective. And you can sell the populist platform that benefits a lot of these voters, even the dumb ones.
All right, man. It's time for me to get my spiel on what I feel. So, man, especially with the last guy right there, man, it's a lot that I agree with. There's a lot that I disagree with. First and foremost, man, I play a lot of chess, man. And if anybody know me, they know one of my greatest sayings that I say a lot of times, man, it's chess, it's not checkers. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on this, but I do believe that all right, we're gonna start here. First and foremost, I voted for Trump. And it wasn't because that I completely believed in him. You know what I mean? It wasn't because that I felt like voting for him was going to be the better choice for me, black people, or America in a whole. No, that's not why I voted. The reason I voted for him, because in my opinion, it was the smarter choice. Now, hear me out before I say this, because I know there's a lot of people out here like, man, what the fuck was you talking about? Like, how you? Man, look, like I said, it's chess, it's not checkers. Man, with Kamala in office, while she was in office with Biden, things were not better for us. Things were actually still getting worse for us. There was still a lot of police brutality against black people. I think it actually increased within the last 4 years. There was a lot of confusion going on as far as like race, gender. It's just so much confusion going on. And also, like, you got to remember, man, the last time when Trump didn't win, did y'all forget what happened? Did y'all forget that all those white people ran into a federal building? It was a whole riot behind Trump not winning. Y'all forgot about that? Y'all don't think it would have been worse if he wouldn't have won this time? It's a very big possibility that if Trump did not win this election, there would be civil war going on right now as we speak. Like, it would be going down outside, all because Trump didn't win. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's best to give the person what they want in order to still be able to at least come up with your plan on how you're going to fight, because we don't even have a clear-cut plan right now. We're not organized in no way, shape, or form. At least not to my knowledge. Unless you know something that I don't know, go ahead and put it down in the comments. But to my knowledge, we are not organized and ready to go to war at this very moment. No. You got to think also that when Kamala was in office with Biden, they were talking about trying to take guns off the streets. That's the one thing we got that kind of levels out the playing field. You know what I'm saying? it kind of levels out the playing field. Y'all got guns, we got guns. What's happening? You feel me? And if you ever notice, whenever they do this thing where they're trying to take something away because it is a detriment to society, it tends to always affect us more than it affects them. You get what I'm saying? I.e. the war on drugs. Yeah, they did the war on drugs, and then crack cocaine, if you got caught with that, you got way more time than if you got caught with cocaine. A more expensive drug that more white people were on, and a less expensive drug that more black people were on. And when they did that, more black people were affected by that choice. Now, I don't know for sure, it's just my opinion, but I think if they would have passed this law for them to take guns off the streets, it would have been worded in a way to where it would have affected us more than it would have affected them. Our guns would have got taken away, and anybody else who kind of like is on our side, guns would have got taken away, and they still would have had theirs. Now the playing field is uneven. You get what I'm saying? All right. On top of that, with Trump, man, he kind of like, he would feel like a chump if he didn't tell you what he want to do. You feel what I'm saying? Like, he's broad front street. We know what to look for. He tell you straight up and down, I'm not messing with you. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I would rather deal with that than to be confused and not know what to expect. You see what I'm saying? It's just more of a chess play. To me, it's just more of a chess play. So that's why I voted for him. Not because I believe in him. No, I don't believe in now one of them. What people have to get through their head, we're never going to get what we're looking for in this country. We're never going to get treated right. We're never going to get this equality thing y'all looking for here. You're not really an American. Cut it out, bro. Cut it out. The bully brought us over here and put his foot on our neck and made us do stuff. And now we expect the bully to treat us right. No, bro. We have to go create our own country, our own civilization, our own community in another country, and then we can flourish. Or we segregate and find areas where we can just, well, we done already tried that. You can't do it here. Why you think Lake Lanier? Man, do your research. Man, that is not the first city that flourished when black people got together and put their money together and built the community. Black Wall Street. Every time we do it, they destroy it. Do you not get the picture? It's not going to happen here. We got to go. We gotta get gone and go ahead and build us our community and our civilization there, and watch we flourish. Watch we flourish. But yep, that's my spiel on how I feel, man. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you're always notified whenever I drop these daily uploads. And yeah, man, I want to know what you think about this, and I want to know what you think about my reason for why I voted for Trump. Do you feel like it was a stupid reason, or do you feel like it made some sense? Either way, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I don't feel no way. We're going to respectfully share these opinions. Until next time.
Holla be thy name. Holla be thy name. Holla be thy name.